right, hey everybody. Week 13. It's hard to imagine this is week 13 already, which means we only have 6 more weeks left, which is pretty wild. Well, 7 weeks technically. Last week doesn't count, does it? Or do we count that week? We count that week, but we don't count that week. You know, I don't know how you count. It's like counting 0 as the last number and when 1 is the last number, but 0 is a number. Anyhow, enough of me just rambling here for week 13. So week 13 began on Labor Day, Monday. My week starts on Monday, ends on Sunday. Woke up that morning and decided I'm going to do some research on my shin pain, my shin muscle that's always been on. It felt like it's got little things in it, and it's always just been quite spasming and everything else. So I did a little more research and randomly found somebody who said that they have this more than they had what felt like a shin splint. It's the byproduct of the muscle connective tissue, blah, blah, blah. And they said they did this thing called nerve flossing and gave links to 2 different video sites that did this process. Basically, you're stretching in a manner that isolates the sciatic nerve that runs down, the big one runs down the back, and then another one wraps around here and comes out and splits. And it appears when you have internal hip rotation issues like I have in my left side, which I've always said has just been a hole in my butt for forever. This can happen with, when things just stop working the way that they should. They'll pinch and inhibit the movement of sliding past that, much like a muscle adhesion when you go get muscle adhesions worked on. So I started doing those. And that first afternoon after doing I think it was 5 exercises that had 3 variations of each. So whatever that is, the 15 exercises all in all. It's like a 20-ish minute go around. I noticed a significant decrease in the amount of information my shin was getting. The muscle wasn't quite spasming anymore. It wasn't as loud as I would like to say. And well, great. That's something in a positive manner. Did it again that afternoon. It's a 2-time-a-day thing they suggest. So it's some random simple ones. Sitting on a table and bent over and do this and lift your leg up. And you got to rotate it just right. And you feel that lengthening stretch, almost like a lengthening tight hamstring stretch, but you can feel that it's different. So there's a lot of variations of that. Couple of laying down on the floor, doing this, that, and the other. So I started doing that. We didn't do a workout. I did a home workout, and that I counted that as my home workout that day. I was still taking time off to feel around with what's going on with my body at the time. So didn't do my hill repeats because I still didn't have this under control. I wanted to really focus in on this. I had a massage appointment on Tuesday and sat down and we discussed what's been going on recently with my massage therapist, who is absolutely amazing. She works you like nobody else and doesn't worry about how she perceives you thinking it feels, because she knows what she's doing and she just gets in there and does the things. And we discussed it, and she said, well, maybe you're either on or you're all the way off. She said, so let's go with you're all the way on right now. So at the end of the session, we did a whole bunch of work before, and she wrapped me with some KT tape that went around here, or whatever tape that's not the brand name, Kleenex, you know, and we wrap from here all the way down, back up around the ball of my foot. Said leave that on for a couple of days. So I got, you know, some more of my legs shaved. It's now a haberdashery of different layers of hair growing back. And then Wednesday morning, I went on my 6 mile run, and then went and saw my PT friend Wednesday afternoon, and we discussed some of this like nerve thing, and he said, well, maybe we have bound up maybe you bound up your sciatic nerve. Let's go talk and discuss through that, because you're right, it does sound like that's going on. So he started doing some preliminary checks, you know, check the right leg, which is the good leg, check the left leg, the bad leg. And so I'm laying on my back on the table, and he lifts my right leg all the way up 90 degrees. We'll do this so it's easier to see. 90 degrees. Flops it back down, lifts it up again 90 degrees, and asks me, you know, what's that feel like? I said, you lifting my leg up and flopping it back down, buddy. Like, that's what I feel. So he lifts my left leg up and goes right to about here, 25%, let's say, and drops it back down. Well, he does it again. He lifts it up to that same 25% area, 25 degree area, and says, what do you feel? I said, like, you're lifting my leg up. And I'm like, why aren't you lifting it up all the way? And he goes, well, I'm noticing a hesitation right here. Like, I can feel a resistance right here. I said, okay. So he puts my foot back down and goes back up just a little bit longer. And, you know, my hip's just a little bit off. So he pushes my hip back down and takes my foot and rotates the head of my femur around, so I'm perfectly squared all the way up through the ankle, and the toes are perfectly in line from hip to toe. And he goes from here to here, literally 2 to 3 centimeters. And a shooting pain goes right from the back of my knee all the way down to the tip of my ball of my foot, like a searing, flaming pain, of which he sees my reaction and goes, what's that feel like? I said, I mean, this hurts. I tell him what it is. I said, that is absolutely insane. What are you doing? He said, this is stretching out. We broke that adhesion and we're now stretching it. So that's the whole front of my lower sciatic nerve, running all down here, was just lit up on fire. I mean, absolutely shockingly painful. So he puts my foot down, raises it back up again, and it doesn't happen. So he goes up maybe another, I don't know, 2 inches up. So now we're from here, now we're about like this, somewhere in the 80, maybe 80 degree range. And just holds it there. And we're talking about this, that, and the other thing. And he's slowly stretching me out and telling me to flex my foot and see what that feels like. And it's triggering some more nerve pain. Meanwhile, I'm still in, like, you can totally feel that still active and like being engaged. The nerve and just flaming. So we then talk about functionality, and we continue to discuss, and like I tell him, you know, there's this, ever since we started doing our first group of exercises, engaging this inner group of the little 4 gluteal things that wrap around here, there's like 3 or 4 of them, the small ones that help with that internal rotation. We figured out that one of those in the middle, probably one of the 2 middle ones, isn't firing or has an adhesion or isn't just engaging properly for whatever reason. And it's causing this little speed bump. And that's when he started going up like this, that's the pressure that he felt, was the front end of that little speed bump, as we call it, getting over that muscle. And I explained to him that every now and again, when I felt a good drive out of my hip and my glutes, that there'd be this little, like, quick send through. And as we slowed that movement down in my hip, using him pushing a little here and me leaning out and doing all sorts of awkward single leg stuff, you can get to that point and there's a gap about this big, it may be an inch, somewhere in that nature, right? Like 3/4 to an inch of range that is this void. So it's like, okay, here's exercises to go start working on this. Do these tonight. We'll come back tomorrow and see where we're at, see how the nerve feels and all this other stuff. So I hike for an hour with my friend of ours who's doing, Mark Silman is his name. He's doing Rim to River this year. It's his first 100. So I go out hiking with him for an hour. He goes off, runs the rest of Freaky Friday. I hike for about another 30 minutes, get in my 5 miles. Go see my friend later that afternoon, and we continue discussing. We've got some exercises dialed in to work out and see how things were reacting. And I ran 30 miles this weekend. I ran 19 on Saturday and I ran 10 on Sunday. And you could feel the front of my shin being there a little bit, my muscle being engaged. And I could feel a relative difference in my push off and my stride. So that's a progress in the right direction. Is getting this turned off and this turned back on is all of my focus right now. Which leads me into the next discussion is it's getting to that time of training where these problems can't continue to be a problem. I cannot continue to have this be a problem and me not work as hard as I physically can to get this remedied while I'm still training and putting in the miles. It's a very difficult balance of doing these things. Because I have a real problem of, I don't want to be the person who shows up with question marks going into this event that I know about. And to only have them come up and possibly, have you pull out and DNF yourself because, it became an issue. I don't want to be a person who does that because it could take away from somebody who's on the wait list waiting to do this. This could be the first 100. They could feel absolutely incredible and be perfectly tuned and trained, which very well could happen. So, I don't want to be the person who's not putting every ounce of my effort into making sure this happens. That means it's about an hour and 15 minutes of stretching and exercise every day, along with all of the other things that my life's encompassed in, and all of the other things that are training-wise still happening. And it's paying extra attention during all of this upcoming training, specifically, how is my left leg and how is that shin reacting? How is my movement through the stride? And keeping up with all of that 100%. Because I don't want to go into this. I don't want to go much further in my training before I call in and say, hey, I'm out. Am I going to lose money? 100%. Is somebody else going to have the ability and chance to run this race who's hopefully 100% healthy and ready to go? And knowing now they have 6 more weeks to really focus in on what they're doing, yes, I will greatly do that. Because I have other races in the future that I still want to do. But right now, I'm going to give myself about another 2 weeks before I really say, okay, that's it. I can't. Let's move forward. Let's move past this. I'm going to go out and support my friends who are doing this. I'm going to go crew. I'm going to go pace. You know, let's get the one friend of mine who has never run 100 through his first 100 in good manner. Yeah, it's all of our own made up things, right? I mean, we're putting all of this functional energy to go through 100 miles, whether it's a race or whether it's just an event to get yourself through. It's not that serious, honestly. It's a unique experience that we all get to work really hard for, and hope for the best on the day we show up. You know, I could show up 80, 90% and have an absolutely amazing, splendid day, use some different tools and resources to get through this, and be perfectly happy that everything worked out. So all of this is going through my mind this week. And I'm just going to keep exercising, keep training, keep working on it, and focusing in on what I can do right now to accomplish like the next 2 weeks, because I have a big week this week. I went and I'm up to my 3 by 1 mile repeats. I did that this morning and everybody felt okay. I'm running 6 with, actually my wife's running 4. I'm going to continue on and run 2 more. I got a 6. And I have a 24 and a 13 miler. We were going to go to the mountains, but it's going to, whatever storm's coming up is going to like rain that out. So I'm got this other hard climb hill area that I'll go do repeats back and forth and get 24 miles. And I can get around 4,000 feet of elevation out of that little run in the woods. Really close to the house, open gravel road. I've been running plenty of technical stuff. I don't need it for my long run. Give myself a little bit of a break. Yeah, the cool weather's hit. It's been 50s, like 51 degrees, 53 degrees. You can see warm vapor coming out of your mouth. My fingertips get a little cold. It's so amazing. We haven't had the AC on for 10, 11 days now. Yay. You feel so much better. It's like there's no more wet blanket you're toting around. So, which reminds me, wet blanket, I gotta go make it. Hey, buddy. I gotta go make some more drink mix for the rest of the week. So with that, keep positive, keep yourself going, stay focused on what you can accomplish. You know, I've basically taken the last 2 weeks off. Whatever. Just do what you need to do to accomplish this goal that's coming very quick. The weeks of I have this, that are like less and less. It's almost here. You know, taper is very short time away. So don't go out and think, oh God, I've got to really get going. It's fine. Do what we all can do. Focus on what we can accomplish. And let's stay happy, stay positive. To all those people who you're not spending all the time with, thank you, and that you love them. They're feeding you. They're going to the grocery store for you. They're picking up the kids for you. They're dropping off your parents somewhere. You know, they're making sure that the car is taken to get its oil changed. All of the other things that you're probably not doing, someone in the house is picking that slack up. So remember to tell them you love them, that you thank them extremely for this. I am really blessed to have a very loving and supportive wife who gets this, who is 100% all in. You know, I go out and buy a pair of shoes and bring them home, and she's like, great, you know, good. I bought another pair of insoles, so the insoles are working. Try the new things now, see if they work. I got 3 new food items to try. I'll report back to you on them this week after I eat them all week. Let's go out and have a good, fun week. Enjoy.